All right, here we go. Start the recording. So if you do while true, that is fine. But if you have while true, that's why. So if we did x is 10, while true, then you have to do if x doesn't equal 10, break. Or what you have to do something like that. Else print hello. Whereas you can go while x doesn't equal 10, print hello. So if you are familiar with if statements, that's you just make an if statement and then you can change if to while, and it will actually become a loop at that point. So you totally can. It's just it involves a little bit more coding, and not that these are the exact same, because I feel like they're not. If x is 10, if it doesn't equal 10, print hello. Yeah. So does that make sense? You can throw an expression in here, and as long as this is true, this will run.
So like it won't break. It will just have
Well, so all right. So let's do x is yes, right? Because while true, if x doesn't equal yes, we want to ask them for it again. X is input fills print. Hang on. This I'm confusing myself. So, all right, you know what? Let me just look at the homework. I feel like that would make it a little easier, as opposed to me trying to figure something out on my head. Figure something else off the top of my head. That's not the assignment. While loops practice. That continues until the user says no. So x is, so it continues until they type no. So x is input. Do you want to continue? X is input. Do you want to start? While x doesn't equal yes, well, it doesn't equal no. Print over. I think this will work. Do I want to start? Yes. There you go. So this is kind of what I was thinking for that, what you guys needed to do for the homework. Just a couple lines. Now, Catherine said she did everything with a while true. You can do that. You can go while true, x, oops. Do you want to continue? If x equal yes. No. If x doesn't equal yes. If it doesn't equal yes.
Why don't you say if it does equal no?
You can do that too.
If you did the other
So,
way, you could just type in anything and stop.
do I want to start? Yes. No. Do I want to continue? Yes. No. So you can do it either way. The only thing is that if you have if true or while true, you have to have break. And then you can over again. Now the difference between these two is that here I needed x to be defined before I put it in the loop. If I use while true, I have to have x defined. I can have x defined inside of the loop. So notice I have just while true. And I don't have to define x until I'm inside of the loop. I'm not saying which one is better or which one is worse. There are certain places where you'd want something like this. There are certain times when you'd want something like that. I prefer something like this as opposed to something like this. Because if you have while true, you have to be certain that you always want that to run. Like our video game, we always want our game to start running, always. And so for a little bit, we'll have something like this while true at the beginning of our game. Towards the end, when we start building in how we lose and how we all that stuff, we change this to something else. Josh?
You're saying for homework and in-class stuff, except for our game, we can always use while true? Or should we just do whatever when you tell us?
I don't know.
Why would you ever want to use while true instead of having your logic in the while statement?
I don't know. It's a good question.
It depends
Again,
on the context.
I prefer this.
It's like less lines of code.
It is fewer lines of code, yeah.
And isn't that more better?
More better.
And more better.
Isn't that
And
more
you
better?
have more lines of code in your one.
So it's up to you. If for now, if your code works, I'm not going to mark you down. I'm just saying I'd recommend this.
The while, no, Wait,
Because
hold on,
this-
hold on. Well, what if when it says do you want to continue, what if they say something besides yes and no? That's just gonna say order. So like you say yes and you say,
They have to type no in order for it to stop.
oh, I didn't see that. Okay, sorry, I didn't. There's a small part that I didn't see. So you put like while x doesn't equal no.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Yeah.
So this is actually called an input validation loop.
Yeah.
We want to make sure what they type in is what we want. So we'll go over that more. Catherine, did you have a question? No? Okay.
If they type a no with a capital letter.
Okay, so we did break. Here we go. Now there's also continue. So I'm going to, actually I'm just going to use what the book says because then I can't screw it up. I have to think of something on the spot. So we're going to continue here. While true,
Wait, I have a question.
yes.
I was trying to do it so that you can take either no or no,
Yeah.
like the capital letter. Do you have to do that differently or do you just put it all in the middle?
You do that.
Okay.
You have to have this. You can't have x doesn't equal no or no. You have to have that part as well.
Right.
So name is input who are you. So if name doesn't equal Joe. So what this is doing is we are verifying that Joe is logging into our computer. Okay? Does that make sense? If Josh is logging into the computer, we're not even going to ask for the password. We're going to say it's the wrong person. Start over. Try again. So, if name doesn't equal Joe, you can print incorrect name. Try again. And what we're going to do is we're going to type the word continue. Now what continue does is the opposite of break. What does break do again? Stops the while loop or breaks us out of it. What do you think continue does?
Continues the while loop.
It jumps to the beginning of the loop, ignoring the rest of the loop.
Oh, that would have been helpful.
Yes. So
Wait.
I'll show you in a sec. So we type the word continue. So from here, anything, I'm going to get rid of that. Any code that is underneath continue will not run if we get to the continue line. It jumps to the beginning, just like break jumps us out.
That would have been so
So any code that is after continue or break may not get run. So let's finish this.
Okay, it's just the word is kind of missing.
No, it continues the loop. It
Back to
jumps.
while true.
So if we're on loop, yeah. So okay.
Well, look, when I think of continuing the loop, I think of like loop running like always. I don't think like it continues like starting like
Restart.
it basically restarts the loop, but it's still not good.
It doesn't restart the loop. It jumps to the next iteration.
So like,
But it does.
so it would jump back up here, or it would just continue down.
It jumps to the beginning, ignoring the rest of it. If we didn't want that, we just wouldn't write continue, and it would finish that loop and then start up. This is to a point in the loop like, hey, what you've typed in is already useless to this loop. We're going to start over. We're going to jump to the beginning of the loop again, and we're going to start all over. Does that make sense?
That would have been.
It's pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Catherine.
For the does it start from like all the way to the top or like the last line?
It starts. I'll show you in a sec. It jumps to the beginning. So password. If password equal. Thank you. Swordfish. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to that. So this is just to show you that this line here will only print if they type in Joe and they get the password wrong. Joe's this person. He didn't see. I am recording this, right? I hope I am.
Who was it?
No, he was taking a picture of the screen, so I was like, I don't know if you saw it.
Might as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did it.
Okay, so let's run this and let's see if I'm right. Do I want to? Oh,
Sorry.
who am I?
Lie to them.
Say Joe.
Password.
Password.
Try password.
Try password. Or try swordfish. Those are the only two passwords.
Oh.
It is not because
Welcome, Joe.
So notice if I typed in the incorrect name, who am I, Zach? It didn't even ask for the password. It ignored all of this, and it jumped right back to true. It jumped right back here, and then continued to ask me for the name. Once I typed in the correct name, it then went to password, and when I typed in the wrong password, it goes to this line. It finishes the loop, right? It only breaks out of the loop if we type in swordfish. And it only gets to this line if we type in Joe. So that is how I know by the time this line is executed, they've typed in the correct password and the correct name. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
yes.
Can you put print access Joe, say welcome Joe after before break or something?
Nope. Because if I were to put it here, print,
Then they can put any password.
I'll only get there. So I'll type in Joe, and then Like it'll print it there, and then we get to break, and it jumps down here.
So it'll print off.
If I put this after the break, we'll be back after the break. Who am I? Joe. Swordfish. It skips it. It jumps out at this line. It jumps out.
So what's wrong with it going to formula? What's the problem?
It wasn't necessary. Like,
It printed if you enter the wrong hash.
No.
I mean, I could put it there. Yeah, that would work. Welcome, but I also have it down here.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, so either.
You could do whatever.
So it would work.
It could work. Yeah. There may be a reason why you wouldn't want it in here. I don't know off the top of my head though. Josh and then David.
So you put something directly underneath break will never happen.
Correct. And then Catherine after David because I saw your hand pop up. Sorry, David.
I didn't understand how to do number two along with this. Like, I was confused on how to like random and not random.
Okay.
Odd and-
So user is int an odd number. While user divided by, how do I just, I've already put it on the board. Equally, so until they enter an odd number, so that means I want the loop to continue if what condition is true.
If percent two equals 1.
Well, that means they've typed in an odd number.
Yeah. Oh, so you just do not.
This needs to be 0.
Oh, okay.
And then you can go,
Wait, why do you need these things?
said enter an odd number.
You sound like someone from Dragon Ball. The woman in the bucket.
Who?
Woman in the bucket. Something like that.
Oh, I didn't, nope, never watched it.
Yeah, that's their fault, I guess.
Does,
Okay.
oh,
Okay.
do you have a question, Catherine? Or?
No.
No? David, does this make sense to you?
Okay, right.
Wait, what does the percent mean before 2?
Means whatever number divided by 2 if the remainder is 0. So this is remainder division. It doesn't give me the number of how many times 2 goes into the number. It gives me the remainder of 2 going into that number. So this is how you determine if user is a multiple of 2 is basically what this is saying.
Okay.
Okay? David, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, Catherine,
Okay, go back.
to this one? Josh, did you have a question?
Me, John?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and I answered it? Okay, Sonny.
It's like how to like how to like how to work on sorry, let me organize my sentence. I mean if we want to figure out odd number or even number, how to type in the code.
How do you type that in?
Yes.
It's exactly this.
So how about if we change to even number?
Oh, then I would just... So if what they type in, so this is what I was saying. So if you're still fuzzy on while loop, you can type in if, and then it goes if the user whatever they typed in, if you divide that by 2 and the remainder equals 1, enter in an even number. So now I can go 1, 3. Wait, what'd I do wrong?
You won't do it because it's
If they enter in an even number, so that means if it's odd, ask them for an even. Oh, because it's not a loop. I entered in an odd number, and because it's not a loop, is user divide. this is true, so it printed that and it just continued. So this was right. I'm not paying attention. So this is correct. I wasn't expecting thank you to pop up, and I should have, because if I said enter in an even number, what did I type in? Did I type in an even or odd number? I typed in an odd number, yes. So then it said enter an even number. What did I type in? An odd number, which is fine. And as long as, when this is if, I did type in an odd number. It asked me for this again, and then it jumped out because it's not a loop anymore. It's just an if statement. So that while loop continues on and 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 on until you type in an even number. Mike?
Every time I comment out this section, there's like a 50% chance of me accidentally hitting F4, so I always close my tab.
Free key bind it.
Just go for it. When I was doing my homework,
That's a bummer.
I did like else. Thank you. Is that like unnecessary?
Yeah. So if I put, you can put else here and have it work in conjunction with while.
It's the alpha basically uses
So it's a little redundant, at least currently. Because if this is not true, while and else only work just like if and else. So if this is not true, then it goes to here. But if I get rid of that else, you only get to this line if this isn't true. So it's just redundant.
You have to do like, is there like a way to do like elif for a while? Or
Elifs, no. Not that I know of. It's not L while.
If while.
No.
So you just put 2 whiles and it work.
What?
You just put 2 whiles, would it work?
You typically don't put a while loop inside of a while loop.
Well, no, I can inside each other, but like on top of each other.
Like, so put another while here.
Yeah.
You can. Just depends on what you're trying to code.
Okay. I don't have any examples, so.
Like, it may just make more sense to have while something and then if something and, you know, if something and then if something, which is how we build our video game like that. Yes, David.
So, I did a couple changes to my homework, and there is no reset text button.
I'll deal with that after class, okay? Does that make sense to everyone? Are there any questions? Do you have a question on how to use a while loop? Mikey?
No, I'm good now.
Feel good? Okay. Everyone good? Okay. So, I'll save that and we're going to start a new file. This is, oh, wait, hang on. I have to make sure I covered everything in the book. Because I'd hate to give you guys a quiz with stuff that, nope. Okay, we're good. Okay. So, to write a for loop. So I would, this is now, I'm going to stop the video because that's while loops. Now this is for loops.